Would you look at that? It's almost like old times. Like Angels, you're gonna need to roleplay as Inks, and then it's just like old times, man.
I'm not sure I can do an American accent, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're doing a pretty good job right now. Just keep it up.
Yeah.
That was
perfect. But anyway, my friends, look what we have here. It's tea time after an actual balance patch that actually kind of changed various things in a fairly significant way. How about that, guys? That's pretty intense. And who else would be better to discuss this with than the returning meme, Brazil DNT from Brazil Death and Taxes, and Holosmith God Angeels. What a team we have here. And then obviously to tell us what builds are going to get played in 3 months' time, it's Boots.
I don't think you need me here. I think I'm extra weight, but it'll be good. I'll ask questions to these pros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boots, you predict the meta. We know that, dude.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with that. That's what I do. 5 months down the line after 3 other balance patches.
Yeah. You kind of say something. It's surely. I mean, that would kind of work with anything, right? You just say a build, and then eventually it gets buffed to the point where it's good. So then right?
I think I kind of might have done that just a couple thousand times, maybe too.
Yeah.
Healing Revenant.
Healing Revenant.
Healing Guardian.
I'm not sure that was ever meta though.
And Minstrel. Just wait. Actually, you don't think that in which game mode are we talking about? You don't think
any game mode?
You didn't. You never fought
maybe Stronghold. Maybe Stronghold.
You never tried to take a point against one, and you just couldn't.
No, we didn't have that in EU.
What about? That's true. That was an NA thing, wasn't it? The knockback rev.
He was a little far behind.
Oh yeah, he was far behind the NA meta.
Hey, yeah? But not any game mode. It ruins in carrying really bad people through low level dungeons. It's
very
really
good in raids, and it's very good in fractals. It is incredible in fractals because you perma Fury, you perma 25 might, and you basically perma Alacrity, and you heal. I mean, it does everything. It does the role of like 5 different classes.
So speaking of Alacrity, Speaking of Alacrity, I haven't. Yeah. So with the change to Alacrity, I haven't looked at Rev yet. How had they nerfed the way they got Alacrity in the first place, or is it the same as it was before?
You give it on the F3 skill from Renegade stance, and you give it on the number 2 skill of the tablet.
Right, but what I mean is, was the duration nerfed for both of those things, or was it left the same?
No.
Oh, okay, so it's just even easier to get.
And you play Minstrel Rev in Fractals.
Yeah.
And so you have regen that takes for like 1,000. Like, it's the perfect healer for Fractals. It is literally the perfect healer.
So it was
limbs,
really...
You have projectile reflect. You have like burst healing for 10k. You have permanent swiftness and regen from little staff orbs. Like it literally, there could not be a better healer for Fractals. Yeah. It's perfect.
Also, half expansion Mike is it, dude. Like everyone's coming back. Everyone's returning. Fucking half expansion Mike is back.
Yeah. The difference is that they probably miss me and not you. Half expansion Mike.
Well, I'll tell you what.
You didn't have class.
Let's start off with the biggest complaint from pretty much everyone, I would say, which was the wonderful class Necromancer. Okay,
they didn't do enough. Scourge
in general, yeah, and I know, Angels, you've suffered with this personally. As someone who I watch your stream, I see when you see that weakness, when you see that might corrupt into weakness, I know you're not a happy chappy. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you feel that Scourge has got the hammer and why it needs more of the hammer?
So obviously they added the animation, okay, and they put the half-second delay, okay. I mean, it's not the change I necessarily wanted, but it's a step in the right direction. Like, you can actually dodge the instant cast shit now, which is like, it's pretty good. But the big shade is still a problem because you can just spam it and you can still spam corrupts and it still has access to like all the CC, all the like basically they just made it a slightly worse version, but it's still so good you're always going to take it.
Yeah,
It's true.
and it's kind of what was already being said, right? The trouble is that it's kind of like a design problem with Scourge itself in Conquest, in Conquest in particular.
Oh yeah.
Because of the fact that you can just put the shade and it covers the entire point.
More than the entire point.
Oh, yeah,
it covers
huge,
like 3 points in a triangle.
Yeah.
If there were 3 points in a triangle, it would probably 4 in a square, honestly.
And it still has decent, strong corrupt pressure as well. But also this kind of weird barrier stuff as well. Like there's also a bit of there is that support aspect to it as well that really does help in the team fights too.
The barrier as well is just the most infuriating thing. Like they should have reduced the radius and reduced the, like, if they want to give support to like Scourge, then fine. But like they have to sacrifice some of their own damage in order to do it. That should be the case. Like currently they've got way too much access to barrier for the amount of damage they do. And the amount
That's how they do damage.
Like the amount of pressure they've also got alongside it is just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Like the covering the whole point. Like no, just reduce the radius on the big shade.
It's probably that they don't want to reduce the radius for World versus World. But is there a way that they could just split it between a big one for World versus World and a small, and it stays small? The trait stays the same. It still does 10 targets, which doesn't actually make any sense in PvP. But I mean, the trait needs to change, I think, for PvP.
Yeah. They need to gut that trait because
there's another solution too. I think they could just make it tick life force whenever the shades are active. Like I don't see how that might not be a problem. Just give it a little tick, make it degen.
That would be a really harsh nerf. That would be
you just cast a shade and it just sits there.
There's still. I know, but that's what that was one of my ideas a long time ago. I don't know if I never told you because you weren't here during it, but was shades maybe should have a health pool, and you could so that you.
Ooh, you want to go for the renegade?
I would go for the renegade. I would go for the renegade. Maybe not. Maybe they have stability though. Infinite stability.
No, boots. What if only the big shade has HP though, dude? Like the little shade doesn't. No. But the thing is, if you do that, then it's like complete.
It's gonna ruin World versus World.
It's trash in World versus World. Yeah. Like, there's no way. There's no way out. Like you have to just make big shade broken. But honestly, I think big shade should be completely reworked. Something like Big Shade should say, it should be a weird trait that says something like, basically it should just remove the damage from the F2 abilities, but give you way more support. It should make the cleanse way better, for example. It should basically modify all the abilities, right? So it should make the F2 cleanse more and maybe do some weird healing or something. The barrier does more and maybe give some boons on the barrier. The fear thing, maybe it's not a fear anymore. Maybe it's like it gives AoE stability or something like that. Oh, no. Get
the fuck out of it, dude.
And then maybe the Desert Shroud, it does something different as well, right? Like just make the Big Shade completely transform all the other abilities and to make it into what it was supposed to be. Because what it was actually supposed to be, if you look at the way Scourge is, right? The top traits are all supposed to be support traits, right? There is the cleanse, the barriers cleanse and give you might. There's the barrier when you put your shade down, and there's extra targets and reduced recharge on the sand shade, right? And it gives you a bigger radius as well. So that's supposed to be the support trait. So they should just completely rework it, I think.
Honestly, I like that idea, but I still think health pool's the way to go, because then you could interact it with the minion traits and death magic, and you could have stuff like when they die, they do a corpse explosion.
Oh no!
When they do extra damage, and they transfer conditions whenever they do damage.
Wait, what?
Hey, how about we don't?
They could give life force too, so that could make them tick down. That could be a thing.
Exactly. I mean, it's a way to get them stronger in a way, but a way to make them much more counterable.
The way I'd go about it is, you've got the small shades. The small shades kind of require a higher skill level. That's what I'd say. Okay, and I think they should really push for that higher skill level and higher damage output through the smaller shades, and then make an easier to play, perhaps more support orientated build through the big shades. Because the smaller shades are much harder to maintain. It's like a lot less pressure overall, and you have to think about what you're doing with it. And it makes no sense to have this very easy to play trait that just makes the build even easier to play than it already is.
You know, we would start seeing. It's something that this would be good. This would be good. A necro counter necro, where you get corrupted. You just make boons on yourself. You get corrupted. Transfer them back to the necro that corrupted you, and epidemic it onto their shades. Yeah,
you can transfer
two necro meta builds.
Yeah,
no transfer.
You transfer the con. You transfer the corruption back. Yeah.
Transfer those onto the shade, and then epidemic the shade onto the necro.
I think the way they could do it is that I think they should increase the duration of the little shades back up again, but basically change it to 15 seconds, because right now it's 10 seconds. Make it 15, but make the big shade reduce the duration down to 10 seconds as well, or something like that. Because right now, little shade is fucking shit, dude. It's fucking trash. Like in any game mode except PvE, it's complete garbage.
I think it's the gameplay they should be pushing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I have a question for you guys since you play PvP. Have they reinstated Feed from Corruption yet?
I don't know. It was a useless trait beforehand, before the bugs. So
I know.
I don't think anyone's going to be playing it anymore.
Yeah, maybe not. But the bug was fantastic. The bug was great with Feed for Corruption, and maybe was it with Guardian?
When you got the Guardians, when you stripped the Guardian's Aegis, the really long one, you'd basically get it, and it would perma block everything.
Yeah, it's
actually, it would go away.
It's hilarious, dude. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of the old Guardian Mace block dodge roll thing. That was funny. Did you guys know about that?
No, did he give you permanent block?
You could cast Mace 3 and dodge roll and weapon swap, I think. And the Mace 3 block would just stay around you the entirety of the game, and you would block everything that happened in the rest of the game.
Nice.
That was in the game for 2 years, too. People just didn't know about it for some reason.
That seems pretty good.
Good stuff, yeah.
It's pretty good. I mean, I think Necro continues to be a serious threat. They did bop it pretty hard. It feels bad, but just the fact that Scourge is Scourge, I mean, it's not going anywhere, guys. It's tough to delete. And you know what I'm a little bit disappointed in, actually? You know what I am quite disappointed in? I was expecting bigger changes here, but they didn't really change. They changed the boon corruption tables, but not really that much. They nerfed the weakness a little bit.
Resistance to mobilize.
Yeah, there we go.
Seriously,
there we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so it's interesting, actually, because it means that Firebrands in World v World just can't spam the resistance field anymore. They've actually got to play it in the right place. This is the thing I've discovered. It's otherwise, if you've got a really bad Firebrand, they're killing you. That's what it comes down to.
It's rough, man. I think it's stupid. I think you shouldn't get punished that hard. Resistance converts to 2 seconds of immobilize. Resistance is the most busted condition in World vs. World already. Immobilize is the most busted condition, and resistance is what you use to counter the massive aids. So if you get a bad corrupt now, you're just instantly dead, pretty much. It's horrible. In World vs. World, this is terrible. Maybe in PvP it's okay, but even then, no, it's cancer. No, you shouldn't just randomly get immobilized on you. It's just disgusting. They should just make it go.
It could be. I think half
or
second would be balanced. A half second immobilized. I think that would be fine in World vs. World.
It's just so dirty.
A little short.
Even half a second though is just so punishing. If you're out
it is, but it's not overwhelming to the point where you throw your keyboard when it happens.
Yeah,
I think half second is probably pretty fair.
Yeah, I know. I haven't had that much trouble with it, actually. In fairness, I've played quite a decent chunk of World vs. World after the change, and I'm playing on Guardian as well. It's not that bad, but sometimes it is very frustrating when
you're following you. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's very frustrating if you get caught and if you can't get rid of it, you probably just die.
So wait, how long is the immobilizer right now?
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
That's it? So 4 seconds maybe?
That's it.
That's it. Come on, dude.
That's a long time.
That's a long time, man.
2 seconds is 2 bubbles.
That's enough second that's enough second for me to delete your health into downstate with the Death's Judgment. That's more than enough time, actually.
Yeah.
It's more than enough time.
Do you want to talk about Death's Judgment?
Well,
can.
I don't know. On kind of the boot. I was expecting more. I have to say I was expecting more radical changes, like really nerfing it, but they really didn't.
I think the problem is that these two balance patches we've had since POF, like the first one they redid Invocation Line in Revenant, okay, and then this one they did all the Phantasms. They redesigned 2 Engineer trait lines, and they did a bunch of other stuff. So like it's clearly not going into balance decisions necessarily. It's just going into these redesigns, which I don't think is necessary. I think the redesigns are great, like don't get me wrong, but it's just not right now when there are more pressing balance issues in the game.
Yeah, that's kind of always been their approach with stuff whenever stuff starts to break out of the realm of what they intended to happen, because I guess they're just not in tune enough with the meta still after 5 years, where they're like, okay, these things are a problem, let's redesign the whole class, and they've done that like 8 times.
I think that's fine though. At the end of the day, I think that is fine. I mean, it's better to fix something if it's actually fully broken, right? If there's actually an inherent design problem, then redesigning it is correct.
Yeah, but that means that they also, I mean, if they have to redesign it 8 times, that was 7 redesigns that they could have, done something else with that time.
Though, Teapot, would you say Elixir's cleansing conditions was a design problem? It was worth redesigning?
No, I don't think so. But I do. I love what they've done with the. I love what they've done with the place, man. That's. I love that NG. Seriously, like, should we just talk about NG? Like, do we want to say anything more about Scourge? It still aids. It's still really good. It's annoying to play. It's a bit more annoying to play in PV. By the way, ArenaNet reversed that nerf in PV on the cleanse. Seriously, why the fuck did you do that? It makes no sense. They just randomly nerf it in PV for no reason. But anyway. Nothing really changed for Scourge, except it's slightly less aids. Boon corruption is still sick as fuck. No, dude. I think that's kind of about it on Necro, right? I mean, that's.
I think in a couple of months, in PvP, people will get used to the tells a lot more, and it will feel like more of a nerf for Scourges than it currently does.
I don't agree, dude. The reason being is that they barely nerf Firebrands and they barely nerf Scourge in this game mode, right? Like. Okay, so put it this way: I can dodge the stuff, okay?
Yeah.
But it's completely irrelevant because they can still spam it and they still have access to so much stuff. And there's no better team fighter than a Scourge, okay? The Scourge Firebrand combo is it's so optimal that there's nothing even close.
Yeah.
It's like Weaver when it comes to the best DPS in PvE, like in whatever. Like it's just nothing even comes close.
I'm not arguing though that Scourge wasn't nerfed enough. I'm just saying that once people get used to the tells a lot more, it will feel like a little bit more of a nerf than it currently does. Not that
maybe. Necro, as far as I can remember playing PvP, back to like Celestial Rifle Engineer and just beating ostrich eggs over and over and over, like. Necro has been an insanely good duo, like with Necro NG, it was great, like Necro Condi Rev with Malix, even though people pretend that wasn't a thing, even though it was good, secretly it was good. But like Necro is fundamentally a broken class. It always will be, it always has been, and I don't think that they can change that, because Necro isn't like... It's not designed to play Guild Wars 2. Necromancer is designed to completely trivialize anything that's a problem about the game. And that's kind of how they maintain their game balance, because they can make anything as hard as they want, and Necromancer will always have some mechanic to just make it not even exist, to just delete it. I mean, it's how it's always been. I think that's kind of what their plan with it is.
I think, like Scourge is, as Angel says, like the trouble with Scourge is it's kind of like a bit of a problem with a lot of Path of Fire specs, I think, or the way the game is going in Path of Fire is very, very short cooldowns on very high impact skills, right? Like it doesn't matter if you dodge the F2 on Necro, right, or if you dodge or any of the shade abilities, pretty much. it's okay. He can do it again in another 5 seconds. You know it's just like you can dodge some stuff, but then it just keeps coming, and then you can cleanse the conditions, right? But then he just keeps applying more to you, right? There's crazy reapplication in a lot of these things. Like there's a lot of constant pressure coming out from pretty much everything right now, and the same is true of healing. If you look at Firebrand, which is kind of the other problematic, if problematic spec, right, is Firebrand. It has this kind of endless supply of sustain and boons that it can throw at you. Like everything is huge reapplication, like spammy boons, cleanses, right? And it's set up in the way that they do kind of shut each other down but also complement each other at the same time, which is a bit of a problem, right? It's just it's a really tricky position to be in, and it's kind of like, what needs to happen here? Do they need to just gut everything, or should they try and tweak the design a bit? Like, it's a really tricky one. Should they try and nerf everything down to lower everything down, or should they try and change the design about it, right? But then again, that would be kind of lowering down. Like, are the POS specs just too strong? Like, is stuff like Scourge and Firebrand just too abusive? Does it need to actually get nerfed, or do we just buff other stuff instead, right?
You definitely nerf it. There's two fundamental problems with Scourge, really, and the same with Firebrand, but to an almost lesser extent. They're very high value, extremely high value, more than any other team fighting classes, okay? And they're easy to play. And these two things combined just mean that you just can't counter it, really. The only way you counter it is by having a Firebrand and Scourge combo on the other team.
Yeah. And
then you go sit on a point and you rotate to the point until one team caps it, and then you go to the next point and continue the team fight there. Whilst the rest of your team is doing other stuff. That's literally what the monthly AT games have turned into.
There's a counter to all of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Deadeye. Is it Deadeye?
Oh no.
Because let me tell you about having like a 20k HP pool with a barrier on, like a 5k plus barrier on top of that. You know what that is to me? That's 2 death judgments instead of just 1, and then it's a dead necromancer. That's all it is to me. I don't look at that and see there's a broken Scourge. It's farming my entire team at mid right now. It's just 2 death judgments.
Yeah, that's a free
it's
kill.
All Scourge is.
It's a free kill to you.
It's just 1 extra button press.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of curious. I mean, it's certainly a curious situation we have with how the meta is right now. Because at the end of the day, being nerfed feels bad, man. It feels bad. And they're going to have to nerf everything so much if they want to bring it back down to ground level, right? I mean, I think, do you know what I would love to see happen, right? I would love to see, you know how you've got, like, the A team in PvP, Like, we should put the A team up against, like, the B team. And then, but the A team can only play core specs, and then the B team can play fucking POF. And we can just watch the best PvPers get shat on, dude. But because they can't play Scourge, it'll be pretty funny. I don't know. It feels bad, man. Feels nerfed, man. But Scourge is pretty good. Firebrand is pretty good, and the thing about Firebrand is that it didn't get nerfed nearly as much as I was expecting, actually. Really interesting. It barely got nerfed, really. They
didn't touch his Connie cleanse at all, did it?
No, they just reduced
the healing a little bit.
Yeah, the healing by 15%.
And the Aegis.
Yeah, and they removed some blocks as well.
Well, the Aegis was a bit of it. Oh. The Aegis getting off. I mean, that does do something, but it just doesn't do enough overall.
Well, being able to hit 80% of your damage now, as opposed to half of all hits you do, is pretty nice. It's a good change overall, but we're not quite there yet.
But then again, they do that, right, and nerf all the blocks. But then they make it so that you can use your F3 more often, right? Now you can just recharge your F3 for days.
I was surprised that they didn't do more to the mantras. Like they only touched the Liberation mantra, reduced the cooldown a little bit, and also barely hurt the healing mantra, healing wise. They're still as good as they were before. I'm surprised they didn't do more.
Well, yeah, the Firebrand stuff is kind of surprising, because Firebrand was arguably more abusive than Scourge, even with how how strong it is as a healer, as a support, right? And the thing is, they did nothing to the other options. Like they tried to put this cleanse Engie thing, which is really cool. But what about heal Ellie? Like why is heal? In fact, they nerfed. Wait, did they nerf heal Ellie, or did they just do nothing to it? I can't remember. I think they did nothing. Yeah, they did nothing.
They nerfed. No, they nerfed the
sword. They nerfed the sword because the fucking healing on that was just ridiculous, to be honest.
That's pretty good, yeah.
I mean, it was basically Druid 2.0 without the passive AI carrying you.
And they increased the healing on Sword 3, but that's not used nearly as often as Sword 2. On water. But I was surprised, for Firebrand, I feel like they should have increased the cooldowns on the tome, the second and third tomes. But instead, they put in a trait that could decrease the cooldown on tome 3. Yeah. So that was weird.
That's funny.
Well, it's potentially high impact, but it's not really that bad. I mean, it especially in PvP, like you're not often in a 5v5 situation where you get a shit ton of blocks, right? Like it's mostly smaller skirmishes, so it's not that impactful. It's really sick in World versus World, though. Like I think there's actually in World versus World. Like honestly, I almost take it as a buff actually for Guardian because of how really, really fucking good that trait is. Actually, like the trait is insane. Having access to the F3 more often is really, really strong. But then not having the Aegis is brutal. And seriously, and do you know why? You know what? Also, to cross over to the game mode back into PvE, why did they remove the Aegis in PvE as well? Like, yeah, it was really, really, really disgustingly. You could carry people really hard, but why did they remove it?
Can they even have different boons and conditions per game modes? I thought they could just adjust the numbers.
Maybe they have.
It really seems like they can.
Wait, that's actually an interesting question. Can they make it different?
I thought they only mentioned. I thought they only mentioned that they could change the numbers, right?
Oh,
really?
I because like there's so much stuff where it would make sense to have like a different condition per different game mode, right? But there are cases where it's just like one bleed stack for 6 seconds as opposed to 2 bleed stacks or whatever. There's
I guess
like adding.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. I think it's unfortunate though.
Yeah,
it feels bad, but I mean, Firebrand is still around. Like that didn't get. I was scared. Okay, seriously, I play a lot of Guardian in World Wars and PvP as well, actually, and I was terrified. I was like, okay, they're going to destroy my Guardian, and it feels bad. They're going to do it. They're going to end me. But no, they actually basically did nothing, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of fair. I'm fine with this. I'm okay with this. This is fine.
And now we have some more. Really fun builds in PvP, like the Chrono build that can't be killed by anything. And
that's not true at all.
Are you gonna want that again?
I pressed one button and that
it's
gone.
Apart from SD Thief, really, and
no,
wait, let me finish. Okay, let me finish. And the hollow builds that again really fucking difficult to do. So. By nerfing Hollow with the dodge mines and buffing inventions, they've created this terrible monstrosity that can 1v1 a Scourge. Okay, going from a Hollow that never could. So it can literally sit on the point, and any condition gets converted into a boon.
Yes,
due to the amount of protection. It's not good.
So what you're saying is it's the perfect build to take in a match against a Scourge.
No, because you would want to push onto a point and 1v1 everything. Because
Scourge by buffing Holomancer. Holomancer.
I don't know. They've made a bunker meta. It's
You're right, actually. They kind of have. Although, to be fair, it rarely ends up being a bunker meta because things seem to die so fast anyway. Like, your Holosmith could go up against a Scourge, but somebody +1s and it doesn't really happen anymore. Things die fast in this meta, even though it seems like it could be a bunker meta.
Yeah, I
disagree with it being a bunker meta. Honestly, I just have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just,
Why?
At most, it's 2 button presses. It's usually just 1.
All right, let's talk about your build. Let's
okay, sure. Okay, right. Okay, Brazil wants to talk about the build. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Deadeye, Brazil? Okay.
So I'm just gonna start off by saying, first of all, they just need to rename Death's Judgment to Balance Patch. And then it'll be even more thematic, because it's basically what it is. Anyways.
I don't think Death Judgment is a problem, though.
I mean, do you want a 1v1 and then you'll change your mind?
I just dodge it.
No, you don't.
Like, it's got massive fucking television and it reveals you.
You don't.
Like...
So, this is a build that is... It's ridiculous, and it's something you tell somebody about it, and they're just like, oh, no. But it's good. So what you do is you play Berserker Amulet. That's the first thing. And people are just like, this isn't PvE dungeons. This is PvP we're talking about. Berserker
for Conti damage as well?
Yeah, Berserker Amulet.
Oh, okay. Berserker Amulet, not Rune. Okay, yeah, sorry.
You just got to get that damage, max damage right here.
Right.
And then you think, yeah, improvisation is pretty broken, or maybe I want to play executioner. Those are both really good traits. But then you say, we don't take deadly arts, take shadow arts. And at this point, you're just kind of like, this guy is crazy. What is he talking about? Berserker Amulet and shadow art? You're playing a Berserker Amulet, you're not playing deadly arts for the extra damage. But then it gets even worse, because on like Dagger Pistol Thief and stuff with Marauder Amulet, you just play Scholar Runes, because it's just damage, right? Infiltration Runes.
What? So wait, you're going to go behind the target to do extra critical damage? Is that
that's not what Infiltration Runes does.
Is that the one at lower health, more damage?
That's not why we take Infiltration Runes, because... Think about Berserker Amulet, no vitality. You have like 10k health, maybe 11k health. And in Shadow Arts, there's this really funny trait where if you get hit down to like 25% HP, you Blinding Powder, and you stealth, and it's like 4 seconds long. And you get the stealth duration trait for Shadow Arts. Infiltration Runes, that does the same thing. So you just get tapped once, and you're invisible for like 10 seconds. So now we see, okay, yeah, this is getting kind of silly right here. Mm-hmm. We move faster when we're in stealth, so Daredevil doesn't matter. Don't need the speedy dodge. And when you're invisible, who needs 3 dodges anyways? You've got the move speed, you're invisible, that's better than speedy dodge. And now, boons. Boons are a problem because, retaliation and resistance and protection, no, they're not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Yeah.
Because we play Trickery, play Bountiful Theft, that takes 3. It takes 3. We play Sigil of Absorption.
Okay.
It takes another one, so we're up to 4. And then Shadow Arts also takes another 2. So we go in, we mark them, we take 6 boons, then we just sit in stealth. You literally just take out the Xbox controller and play Call of Duty. You just sit in stealth, or you run around. You can play the trait in Shadow Arts where you remove conditions in stealth, or you heal, so you have infinite sustainability. And you just sit there. They have the mark. As soon as you hit Maleficent 7, you just Death's Judgment, and there's a down player on the point.
Are you the best thief in the game, Brazil? Are you the only good thief in the game?
I'm not the only. I'm not the best thief in the game, but I'm serious. This is the best PvP because
Brazil.
It gets to the no. Let me finish here. It transcends because the whole point of the meta in PvP is to win games, right?
Yeah.
That's the old. See, this goes beyond that. This turns every single fight in PvP into its own game that you can win. And then at that point, you get pips for losing. Who cares what happens? You just go around the map, you +1, or you just 1v. You mark them, and then as soon as you mark them and you go invisible, you win.
So I like this idea.
You count all your little victories. You lose.
I like this idea.
There is this very slight problem, or 2 slight problems with this build. Okay.
Tell me what they are, and I'll tell you the solution to them. Okay. I guarantee it accounts for those.
First of
remember,
reflex exist.
I know. See,
okay.
here's the thing.
And also, okay. You are putting all of your eggs into one basket with waiting till you hit like full malice, okay? To get like the Death's Judgment proc, okay? Why doesn't the player just move away?
They usually do.
Rotate to another point. Like, what is stopping them from just rotating to another point?
Take the point. Or they go away. You take the point. Here's the fun thing.
Or a thief hunting you all game because they know you're playing.
You got 11k HP, dude. You got 11k HP.
You can't.
What
They
are you
can't
gonna do against that?
You get hit once, you get backstab. That doesn't kill you because you have just enough HP,
But
and then
Death's
you're
Judgment
invisible.
Reveals you. Like that 2 seconds is 2 seconds reveal on Death's Judgment is more than enough time to kill a
You know
whatever
the
thief.
elite takes that too, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
but not if you're
people.
CC'd.
What happens? What happens? We need to be realistic here. Is you mark somebody, everybody panics. They think I'm going to be smart. I'm going to outsmart this thief. I'm going to wait 2 seconds. I'm just going to stand still for like 2 seconds. And I'm going to
No one
dodge and
does
blow
that.
all them. Yeah, they do.
What?
Come down and play a game of Gold.
Oh, wait. This is
See
NA,
things
isn't it?
you would never have believed. It is the ultimate build. Engineers come and you mark them, and then they think I'm smarter than this thief. I'm an engineer. I have a science degree, and this thief's just some street thug. And so they wait. They throw down all their reflects. They put on their boons. You take them, and then it's just one shot.
Actually, you're not. You're right, Brazil. I would just stand still. Okay, I would just stand still. But there is something to be said, though. As soon as you start casting Death's Judgment, you see that little orange line coming towards me. I just put Healing Turret down, get the Reflect Field up, and you kill yourself.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Yeah.
I mean, you can also dodge
Because
it too.
I can guarantee
You have,
anyone playing this build does not have a stow weapon keybound.
I have a stow weapon. I have dodge down too.
Oh my god! What the fuck? This is a good debate.
It's the perfect build. It's the perfect build. All of these things that they're not. I mean, it's not a thing. Like these are just little things. This build accounts for every single critical thing in the entire PvP meta. Needs to be
Brazil, I
accounted.
support your build. I
know.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
like
way
it.
you can't support it. The only way that you can refuse to support it is you've never seen it in action or you've never played it. And then once you have...
Oh, it's a real shame you
once
don't have a
you've
YouTube channel, isn't it, Brazil? Maybe you could show us.
What happened to that?
Yeah. Dude.
No,
my
like
God.
for real though, like the build would just be super pressured. Like any decent player can pressure that, no problem, and it becomes incredibly difficult to like not only stay still, but actually get off your Death's Judgment with the 7th Maleficent 7 or whatever it's called. Like it's
Yeah, and so you've come to the ultimate criticism, which is you have to kneel and stay at range, and people can just kite around stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, except you swap to dagger pistol and you backstab them.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know, man.
Oh,
I don't
dear.
know. I don't know. See that warrior.
You see
warrior
again.
thinks
There
he's so
again,
good with the shield reflect, and then suddenly
you
shoot
swap
him.
to dagger
You
pistol. You go
put
into
down
melee
that
range. He full
minefield,
counters
steal.
you, and then you die because you've got 11k HP.
how is he gonna full counter through 8,000 blinding bolts with the stolen axe? Doesn't happen.
Wait, what? Oh my
Or
God.
you see the full counter tell, and then you just think,
I don't know. Resistance exists. Like
not when you can steal 6 boons with like no cooldown. Sorry, it's the perfect build.
But then you've got a
There's no-
casting cannon. Like, it's like it's so easy. Just CC is the answer to the problem with this build. Like it's like
Shadow step.
Shadow Step.
No,
Oh, okay. Oh, you Shadow Step. All right. Okay.
All
Hang on
I
a
see
second.
here-
Now you've had to move away. Okay. Like,
right,
and
and then
that's
you
the problem.
swap to rifle and you just does judgment.
all I see here is a guy
I mean-
with a really neat build idea trying to make a British guy happy about it. And I feel like I really got to support you in this, Brazil, because I know where it is.
No, dude, like Brazil is back in day one. He's like trolling the entire PvP community, dude. This is fucking.
I'm
good.
not trolling. It's the perfect build. If EG played this, they wouldn't have needed to buy the
Oh,
audio.
yeah.
Serious.
Oh my god! All we need to do is call Bick, and this is like the even better than the other TeaTime, dude. Holy shit! Oh man! Oh man! Oh, I don't know. Deadeye, dude. Deadeye. They buffed it. Do you know Deadeye is actually kind of decent in PvE now after they buffed it? It's actually
Like
kind of
30 something, right? 32 or something like that.
Yeah, you could get like probably 31k with good RNG.
There's one thing this balance patch did do right, and it was increase the massive variety in the number of decent builds out there for damage. Like, I've been having fun with the Spellbreaker one myself, and it's great. Like Deadeye. What else was there? Power Chrono.
Oh yeah, Power Chrono, dude.
We should talk about Mesmer.
Yeah.
Huge changes to Mesmer.
Yeah.
Dumb class.
Phantasms are completely reworked. They're kind of one trickers now. They just do one little attack, and Alacrity is a boon. And you know what? It's kind of interesting. Well, I know from a PvE aspect. Let's just do the PvE stuff first because it's really easy to do this. The class actually feels better to play. I can't believe it. The class is actually better to play now in PvE. 100%.
I agree.
It is a bit easier, but there's also more scope. They've done a really great they've done really well in PvE, I think, because of the nerf to Alacrity, they actually put more damage back into the class, and there's more scope. There's more design scope, right, in Mesmer because of Alacrity being weaker, and there's also more design scope for support builds because you can shatter now, so you can use Chaos more effectively. So they've actually done really, really well for Mesmer in PvE. They've really opened it up. Really opened up the design space. Really great changes.
This is like the perfect example of that where they redesign a class basically, and it worked because I mean, for the longest time, it's true that you had Phantasm builds and you had Shatter builds, and you had to choose between the two, and you can't do both at the same time because it just doesn't work. That they removed that completely. Everything's a clone build now. There's no really Phantasm builds anymore, and Mesmer just feels the way it should have always felt, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was a little skeptical actually, but yeah, they've improved the gameplay of Mesmer 100% in PvE, definitely.
Honestly, it looks really exciting to play. Like they just do some really cool stuff with them. Yeah, and I think it's like, especially when it comes to new elite specs, it's gonna be very exciting what they can do with that.
Yeah.
When it comes to new weapons. They just need to balance some of them a bit, like Disenchanters.
That's
a little too strong.
Oh, yeah. There's some great changes to some of the utility skill Phantasm, right? The Defender and the Disenchanter are, oh my goodness. As I understand it, like the Power Chrono build is pretty dirty in PvP right now.
It's basically Deadeye. It steals like 6 boons.
It's 5 boons and it bounces 4 times. It's so very, very strong. Like 5 boon rip. And it does a lot of damage as well. If you hit a target that has no boons, it does a lot of damage, right? A very significant amount. And then there's like the Mega Troll with the Defender. Like it can stack up to 500% increased damage every time it blocks. Like if it gets lost in a team fight or something, or you can even play it in World vs. World. Some people play it in World vs. World, and you can get insane crits in World vs. World. You can get like 20k crits or something with this fucking troll ability, right? In PvP, probably won't be that high, obviously, because it's not, World vs. World is a bit funky. But you can probably get a lot of damage, and of course, you summon one with the trait as well. Like you can get some serious damage with this new Power Chrono build. So Power Mesmer is back on the menu, boys. Okay, so I think overall, really, really nice changes. But yeah, I don't know.
I've been having a lot of fun with the Power Mesmer in PvP and World vs. World with Sword main hand and going clone generating through that and just trying as hard. Now you could really do it. Trying as hard as possible to not let the enemy know which one you are, and you do it a lot because there's a lot more targeting breaking. And the one thing I'm upset about is, has this always been this way that power block is on a 3-second internal cooldown and doesn't do the damage every time you interrupt?
It's only in PvE.
Only in PvE, really?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. So in World vs. World, it's not.
It's because they changed some stuff. They basically reworked all the on interrupt traits to always proc on stuff that that has a defiance bar. So they added a cooldown to it in PvE. It's not in PvP though.
Oh.
So you can't maintain, like you can't have the damage all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real shame because those dazes from each illusionary swordsman coming in would be a nice spike if that was the case. Unfortunately, it's not. Okay, all right.
No.
Oh well.
It's really exciting to see all the different. I think right now for Mesmer there are just so many options you can play right now. I think you can play the class in so many more ways. Thanks to the way we've done this. So honestly, like hats off to ArenaNet. I think they did a really great job. But like, I think there might be a few little balance issues here and there. I think maybe
maybe a few.
but actually, I think the design is great. The design is really good. And they're already adjusting this stuff. They reduced the might duration. on Bountiful Disillusionment, which is it was pretty fucking busted, honestly. Like with the stuff you could do, and Condi Mirage disappeared off the face of the earth for a day in PvE, right? But they brought it back, but by changing the condition from Confusion.
To Torment, yeah. So right now, Condi X Mirage in PvE, someone has a vid of it doing 35k DPS on a stationary target with 20k Torment ticks. So what does that mean for a moving target?
Well, is that the biggest golem?
It was not, I don't think.
Okay, because there's interaction between the bouncing and the golems and players around it. I think it double hits on the big golem. Like the biggest size, so that artificially inflates the damage, and also it has to do with how, like, bouncing around on. Assuming we're talking about the same thing.
Wait,
maybe.
Are you not talking about the staff?
Are you talking about staff?
No, they fixed the staff thing anyway. They fixed the staff thing.
They fixed the staff thing, but no, I'm talking about axes. Axes apparently do around 35k DPS with the Torment change. And the Torment ticks range between 15k and 20k, and that's on a stationary target. So if it was a moving target, obviously you do less damage because it's harder to hit a moving target, but you would still do maybe 15 to 20.
That depends on whether or not you're playing Mesmer or Deadeye, but I would agree with that in this case.
Yeah. But yeah, so if you're doing 15k extra damage per tick from Torment if they're moving, what do you have on your hands?
A lot of damage.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty similar to most other classes.
I think what they're doing essentially is that people are still having a really hard time with Hall of Chains or whatever the new raid is. And so I think basically they're just increasing the damage on everything so people can actually like do the content to like compensate for their skill level through damage. I think is kind of what's happening. Balance right now. Teapot, what's that face? What's happening?
I don't know. I just love these memes. I love memes, and we live in memes.
It's quite the conspiracy. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It's not a conspiracy.
I don't know, man. It's...
How is that a conspiracy?
I think it is better to buff characters.
Drawn to a logical conclusion.
Yeah, I would say it's better to buff characters to be all able to do a certain amount of DPS than to nerf the last boss in Hall of Chains.
Yeah,
I don't have a problem at all with like Weaver doing 800,000 DPS because it's kind of like you get tapped once, like you just stand slightly in the wrong position and that AoE hits you, or like you forget a dodge roll because you're just rotation, and you're dead. And so like it's fine. Like there's always been a little bit of risk with Ellie, and the good players have been able to kind of bypass that risk with skill. Whatever, it's fine. And just like Deadeye, like again, they just decided that it needs to do 30k DPS, which that's fine. Honestly, I wouldn't have a problem if they increased that because it's honestly really hard to play. Just like constantly kneeling and just using Death's Judgment, basically. It has good support. Like you give off a lot of boons to people. The steals are busted. Oh my gosh.
The raid steals?
Yeah,
really excited.
And Matthias, like on Matthias, there's another boss too. I don't remember what it is. You just permanent. One thief is permanent every boon on everyone in the raid. Because it hits 10 targets.
Pretty good.
Literally every boon.
Yeah, the ectoplasm, dude. The ectoplasm, dude.
Busted.
Apart from Alacrity, because consistency was not a forte of ArenaNet.
Yeah, it's good stuff, you know.
Well,
hey, at least they're consistent there. You know, every boon, dude, every single boon, so it has to be Alacrity now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to. So have you tried out all of the thief steals in the raids already?
No, I don't really raid that much anymore, honestly.
Some of them are pretty impactful.
I haven't been that interested in PV since I came back.
They just give Thief that extra little bit of a bump. You know, like it can res people a little bit. It can give a lot of boons to fill in the gaps. It can get some extra damage in. Wait, hang on. What's the weird one with the souls? Right? Where's the soul one actually? I can't remember what it does exactly. There's like one really interesting one. For Thief.
It's really, it's a great thing to do because, you know, like one of the things that people didn't like about bringing Thieves into a raid scenario is that it didn't provide that much group utility. And so rather than change the class entirely, just throw that into the steals mechanic and you get your group utility. It's really good.
Yeah, a lot of the steals just previously, you didn't see the really awful ones that much, but like they had uses, but it was just kind of they're alright.
Yeah.
Like the gunk puddle is good, like depending on what build you're playing, the stealth could be good. The interrupts were okay, but like you didn't really need to use those that often because you had other ways to interrupt. But yeah, these are really good steals. They're very good.
So NG got some changes that wanted to bring Scrapper back as a tank spec. Has anybody?
Man. Dude, I love these. I love the NG changes. So, as our resident engineer expert, why don't you take us through some of these changes, Angeels?
So so they tried to make Scrapper like somewhat back into its old role of like a tanky bruiser build, but like Hollow does it better, which is really quite ironic, really, because they buffed inventions obviously the pulsing protection procs and everything on the heal skill, the heal gyro. Kind of, they're supposed to be the synergetic aspects of it, but it's just not good enough. Like, Hollow has the damage that Scrapper doesn't have. And it has a larger cleave radius, it has better stab up time. And realistically, changes like adding barrier to adaptive armor and everything, that's cool, but it's just not quite there yet in terms of bringing the support the group needs. Like, Scrapper is still just as dead as it was before the patch, because Hollow just, it's like Reaper, really. You could play anything with Reaper because it had all the skills attached to the F1, and it's not reliant on utility for damage. So yeah, I like where they're going with it, but it's just not there yet. They need to do a proper revamp of gyros before it becomes really probably the removal of the AI. Actually, just make it so all the effects are based on the Scrapper.
So more like spirit weapons then? A bit more like spirit weapons.
Yeah, probably. And probably add additional functionality to the function gyro, so you could properly use it in a group setting outside of just rezzing. Because rezzing at the moment is impossible in the current meta. You can't do it. Like, that's half of Scrapper's functionality gone, because like Scourge and Firebrand exist and Hollow Cleave exists and all of that shit. So it's just, it doesn't
bring quickness reses.
Well, it doesn't work anymore, Boots. It's
Bring
gone.
it back. Bring it back.
I don't think even quickness res would do anything.
There's too much AIDS, Boots. Too much damage. There's just too much
slow
damage.
Reses. Yeah. How do you feel about the change to Minesweeper?
It was a change that was needed, and honestly, it was the change that I wanted to happen. It's actually a bit better than I was expecting. I was kind of expecting them to the mines would still detonate when you dodged a second time, but they actually stay around, which is quite nice against some 1v1s. But it's just like it's not worth really taking that trait line anymore, because Inventions is just really good, and you like against the Spellbreaker you can't really do anything. So yeah, when I first saw the changes to Engineer, the first thing I wanted to do with the Scrapper was to make a
conditioned and damage reduction tank build. So you have your 20% off adaptive armor. You got your the new Iron Blooded reduces condition damage as well, based on the amount of boons. So you'd spam a lot of boons on yourself, and with Melandra runes and the food, you'd have 20 plus 12 plus 25 plus 20. And it would be really interesting to try that out. I haven't yet. I wonder how that actually stacks in practice. I'm not sure.
The problem with Iron Blooded is that it still takes a spot that you would have to take. You would take HGH or Purity Purpose with, like, and Purity Purpose is where most of your beans come from.
Oh yeah, dude. This trait is sick.
Like, it's such a good trait. Such a good trait.
It's so good.
It's also got a really good meme name. So like,
yeah, exactly. It's a bonus meme. It's a very nice bonus meme.
So props to ArenaNet for that.
Yeah.
Like,
perfect name. But I think what I was about to say though is my second. Like, I didn't think that because Iron Blooded is going up against Purity Purpose, it was going to be hard to make this worth it. So actually, in the end, it looks like this is probably going to just be a really big buff to the old flamethrower build.
Wait, the flamethrower build?
I'm serious.
Okay, explain this flamethrower build to me. Okay. I've not heard of this before.
It was the old flamethrower build where with Juggernaut and
I've fought that a few times. It's
It's not fun to play against.
Not unless you're Deadeye, but yeah.
Not unless you're Deadeye, and because you don't have Reflex on the flamethrower build.
Yeah, you do. Flamethrower Reflex.
That's true. You have and you have the tool belt with the gyro. But yeah, so you just basically, it was a boon duration might flamethrower build, and you gave yourself a bunch of boons, and there's that new trait also that every time you give yourself a boon, you gain your health. You heal.
Yeah, you gain,
and
it's actually a decent amount of health actually. Like a Corona, it gives you 12 stacks of might, whatever it is. It actually heals you for like 500 health as well, which is it's actually a decent amount of healing with it.
So yeah, with Purity Purpose, if you're cleansing a lot of things off of you, and with the flamethrower, with that thing that now says you gain might whenever you deal bleeding, and that trait could be very good. Could be pretty strong now.
Well, do you guys think they should add some more team support to Scrapper? Do you think they should put some AoE barriers on it or something like that? Is that what it kind of needs?
That's what I think. Well, they kind of did with the function gyro when you res someone.
Yeah, you gain AoE barrier. Yeah.
But like with a rework of gyros, they definitely should add like a trait where when they detonate or something, you get AoE barrier or something like that. Like that'd be a good way to go. Because currently you just have this situation where gyros aren't worth taking at all. It's like
make a new gyro called barrier gyro,
or have like the bulwark gyro instead of the damage reduction, give you pulsing barrier instead.
Barrier,
yeah. I mean, what else would they need to buff though about the gyros? Like, what would your ideal gyros be, Angels? That's what I want to know. Like, what do they need to make them good?
So first of all, remove the AI element of it because it's really bad. The healing gyro is probably fine as it is if it's like on you as a player, because like especially with inventions, the pulsing protection on the F1 is actually really strong because that's like 5 cleanses if I recall correctly.
Oh yeah, dude, it's sick. 5 conversions, I think you mean. Dude.
Yeah,
wow.
they need to make the cleanse gyro like have a pulse, like 2 conditions every couple of seconds, really.
How would you remove the AI element?
So what I'd have it do is just, you know how like the function gyro kind of floats around you when it's active?
Yeah.
I'd kind of have it like that, where it's like, that's obviously a visual effect, but you know, have it so it's on you as like the player, it's around you, the effect is around you. So if like you've got the bulwark gyro active, you're running around, you're pulsing barrier on everyone. Okay? Because the problem is currently is that gyros die super fucking quickly, especially in World v Worlds. Okay, Gyro as a Zerging build is completely fucking useless. Like, what are you gonna do? Because the bullet Gyro is dead instantly. Like, you try using Blast Gyro to like get a sneaky knockback or something, it's dead.
Yeah, so what do you do with Shredder Gyro in that case, though?
Shredder Gyro.
Yeah. Nobody uses it now anyway, but it would be
Shredder Gyro. Go on.
Oh, I said I've actually wanted them to do that with warrior banners for like 3 years. Like make inspiring battle standard, like make the barrier or the banner effect come from the warrior, so you don't have to pick them up and run around with them. Because like that trait has just been, it's still stupid.
That would be broken though. That would be so broken.
If you go down this road though, you just end up where nothing. Everything's kind of just another pulsing AOE though. Like if you go too far down this road, then you end up with no class flavor other than the text. Right? That's the issue.
I think what you got to do is come out with the next elite spec based off of my idea a long time ago, which was dual wielding, and you could pick up a banner and dual wield it with something in your on hand. have the last 2 banner skills. Yeah.
I think obviously with what you're saying there, Teapot, like the difference is though with gyros is that they're already following you around, and like the fact that they're killable is actually detrimental to the class currently. So
they already have turrets that are killable.
So yeah, like perhaps reduce the effects, change some of them, like bullet gyro to barrier, pulsing barrier or something. Shredder gyro could probably just be AoE damage around you, like or have it pulse. What's it called? Combo finishes like it already does, because that's the unique aspect of it, isn't it?
What if they weren't AI focused, but also didn't follow you around just like non-targetable? What if they were ground targeted, and instead of a detonation as a replacement, it's a re-ground target on like a 2-second cooldown or something for each one? That's instant activation.
The problem is though is that Scrapper is like focused on super speed. Like that's one of its aspects, and like mobility and moving about, like being able to do that. And like even if you can retarget it, like that ruins like a lot of that's like mobility aspect that's Scrapper kind of has. It really needs to be like I think honestly it really needs to be self-centered, so the effects reduced to cater towards that, like the effects not like the gyros not being killable. Because you look at Renegade, the legend itself is dead in PvP simply because the legend they're killable.
They just die instantly.
And that's the problem. It's just not good. Have it set for a set duration, but you can detonate it early, and then your job's done. Really.
The super speed aspect is, I think, will be really really cool. If it was, I don't know. I feel like on a lot of the super speed traits, I feel like for a start, I think the radius is a little bit too small. Like it's like they're pretty small radii. Sorry. And I think especially in World vs. World, I think it would be awesome if you could have super speed more often. Because right now, super speed is kind of really annoying to actually get hold of. Like the only really good way to get super speed in World vs. World is heal Ellie almost, like, and Mesmer, not really. So like if Scrapper could fill that role, I think that would be awesome. Actually, to have something in World vs. World, to have that kind of aspect for it, and then you could have that kind of tanky thing like with a different set of traits in PvP, right? Then you could have like maybe some like more focused on kind of like. Almost like a heal Ellie, but it heals. It's kind of like it will be the cleanse based support, right? So like Firebrand can be like a hybrid between the two. Like heal Ellie is the full healing thing that just heals all the time. And then NG can be like the cleanse focused one, and Firebrand can be this weird kind of hybrid thing. It would be a pretty interesting thing to have. And then I guess Scrap would also have the res component, I guess, if to the point where you could actually res people a bit better. I don't know. I feel like that could be the direction they could take Scrapper in. I mean. Yeah, and then super speed is a boon, dude. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, then super speed is a boon. What does that corrupt into though? Like that would corrupt into a mobilize as well, dude.
Mobilize.
Yeah.
I
guess what they gotta do, that corrupts into a mobilize, but then they gotta change resistance to something else. What we can make
it like do health like HP damage.
Hey.
Just make it damage you.
Yeah. Straight up. I like it.
Yeah, damage you based off of a percentage of their condition damage.
Or resistance was making it so that no conditions on you was dealing damage to you. Maybe when you corrupt resistance, they take damage based on the number of conditions they had on them.
Yeah. I think that would actually be really good.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of things are going to be very disgusting. And that's
that would be like a spike of 10k damage would be nice from that.
That's not okay, Boots. That's not okay. Like,
for 12 games.
You have to understand some of the things you're talking about are not.
You're saying, wait a second. You're saying that corrupting one boon shouldn't do 12k damage?
Yes, that shouldn't happen.
How many boons are there? Are there like 10?
14 now?
Yeah, it's 14 boons.
Mm-hmm. 14. Well,
loads of them, dude. Loads of them.
You could just do like 200 damage or like 150 damage per boon. Nothing crazy.
Well, per stack?
No, just per boon.
I don't think they want to go
25 might and 1 might would be the same.
Wait, what? I don't think they need to. I don't think they need to do that.
It's
Ellie gets 24% extra damage from that trait if you get all the boons. How easy is it to get all the boons in a raid scenario?
They could just make another
in a raid scenario. Very easy.
Just have a Deado.
Yeah, have a Deado. No, because of Mesmer Chaos now, it's crazy actually. Chaos Mesmer is actually a legitimate kind of meme.
Well,
it used to.
Wait,
exist,
does anything corrupt into taunt?
No. Thank God for that, dude.
Resistance corrupts into taunt.
No.
No.
There is Svanagander in Honor of the Waves, one of the pads in there. He has a unique boon or condition that he applies that's a cower. It's a fear, but it makes you cower, like do /cower, like the emote, so you just stay in place.
Alright.
They could just make something like that.
But isn't that just like immobilize? Only worse?
It's similar, yeah.
It's like,
it just makes people, it just forces an emote. What if
that's such a good idea.
Laugh.
I want a Mesmer elite spec that makes people forced to do emotes.
Oh my god,
dude! The minstrel.
I'm sorry. We already have enough aids with Mesmer. We don't need any more. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, boys, lay it.
It's mime, and it gets tomes, and you have How to Dance Volume 1 and Volume 2 and those all come in.
No.
F4 ability on the Firebrand. We need a buff on Firebrand.
Dude, buff everything.
Yep.
You know what? I want to. Okay, let's talk about some other stuff. Okay. So here's an interesting thing, and this could be a bit of an interesting discussion. So they're trying to bring Revenant back, right? They're trying to buff power Rev, like Rev. They're trying to bring it back, and it was a good effort. They tried to do something to Renegade. Shit ain't gonna happen, but still, right?
He tried with Renegade. What?
Well, look, they reduced some of it. They didn't make it does more damage now, right? And you know, look, 30% more damage. Okay, that's good.
Well, buff the damage of Shortbow 5
like the
by
Condi,
333%.
Isn't that a typo? Isn't that a typo? Isn't it 33%? I'm pretty sure it's 33%. Because if you look at orders from above, it says reduce the energy cost from 235 to
230.
Yeah, they've got extra 3s in there for some weird reason.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, they're trying to bring Rev back a little bit, and they accidentally nerfed it by bug fixing phase traversal, but now they put it back. They put it back now.
Well, put that back, but they also put this is nothing about buffing power damage, but they have that new trait. What was it called again? Brutality. How did that affect World versus World for this short amount of time?
Most important traits in the game.
Honestly, no. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, it didn't really get nerfed at all. Honestly, they added. No, it didn't. No, it
1 second internal cooldown.
A 1 second internal cooldown per target.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so that's not so bad.
Yeah. No, the only thing it changed was the interaction with Shiro with the new impossible odds. That was what made it kind of dirty, right?
And what's it called? The Renegade F3.
Oh
very
yeah.
interesting.
Oh
with
dude,
it.
that was disgusting, dude. Yeah. Brutality and the Citadel bombardment was just disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, you would just cast it and just instantly delete everyone's stability. It's absolutely hilarious. Yeah. I don't know, but they're trying, right? They're trying to bring this back. And kind of odd. I mean, it's not there yet. And New Impossible Odds is kind of. I like the flavor, but I guess it's kind of a nerf actually. Like not having quickness is pretty feels bad, man. But they did it so they can put brutality in the game. I don't know. Yeah, like they're trying to bring Power Rev, and I think Power Rev is a really cool thing, and they should try and bring it back. But let's talk about one thing, guys. Okay, do you know what the thing is?
I don't.
The old specs fucking suck compared to the new ones. Okay, that's basically what I'm trying to say here. Okay.
Well, apart from Renegade.
Renegade. Yeah. So, what are we gonna do about this problem, right? What is how do they address
the
this?
expansion?
It's
already sold.
I'll be honest though. Like I think there's obviously that selling the expansion thing. I really don't think they do that much. Okay, based on some of the balance things out there, I don't think it's a thing I think they are actually capable of, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I don't feel they do it for that purpose. I think they just make strong elite specs because they think they look cool.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think I completely agree with that. I don't think they're doing this I don't think they do it on purpose. I think that they do cool designs. Like Brazil's about to roast ArenaNet, so we'll let him do that.
I'm not going to roast ArenaNet. I just think that you have a failure to understand fundamental business practices.
No, of course it makes perfect sense, but I don't think ArenaNet is still doing it. That's my thing. I don't think ArenaNet is doing it.
Is it possible that the reason the POF specs on average are better because of the fact that the design they went for HOT specs was to fill voids in classes, fill voids that classes had, and there's
a broader issue. So the Heart of Thorn specs, they specifically said, these aren't going to be just better versions of the classes. They're going to be different ways to play. Except they realized, or at some point they tried to say like, oh, well, yeah, Berserker was just supposed to be Power Warrior and Reaper was, supposed to be Power. But then they said, oh, well, we really need to put condition damage into this, and we need to basically every elite spec needs to be able to just do everything, and then as a consequence of that, that became a thing. And then the POF stuff, like it was really confusing. They were kind of like, yeah, well, Deadeye is just Power Rifle Thief. And, Renegade is, I'm going to be a char and shoot Dreamer arrows out of the mists. That was basically the point of that class. They didn't, I don't feel like they really had this, set direction that they wanted to go in. And they kind of were just, trying to figure out the whole time. And then the expansion got released, and they're just kind of like, oh, what have we done? So, what should have happened is they should have just honestly gone back and redesigned, the Heart of Thorn specs to just do one thing. If you want to play Condition Damage Warrior, play Berserker. If you want to play Power Warrior, play Spell.
I agree with you. I agree with you there. But the problem is that they only had one set of elite specs. If they had 3 at the release of Heart of Thorns for each class, then
I know.
It makes sense to. But
they should have, when Path of Fire came out, they should, maybe even before it came out, the big balance patch before, they should have just done that.
I mean, they started to.
That way.
Really. Berserk is more condition based now. You've got Spellbreaker, which is obviously very power based. Scrap. I'm not going to mention Scrapper, but Hollow is very power based, obviously.
If you want to play a tank, you can play Scrapper. If you want to play just big damage, big brain DPS power G, play Hollow Squid. If you want to play condition damage, just play base NG. There are essentially 3 ways to go about this whole, but they're still caught in some weird limbo. Or like they've had to already redesign stuff anyways in the balance patches. It was just kind of necessary. They could have just, said, okay, let's just do this. Let's just make these specs, one thing. And I don't know.
Yeah,
they could have done that. Would have been good.
And I think that's what they should do. And hopefully we do see. I think the trouble is that the way the balance is working is that they're only going to make a few major changes, right? Every patch. So I think it will take so long to balance every spec that by the time that happens, we'll have another expansion, right? Then it's all just fucked again. Yeah.
You think there will be another expansion?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. At least one more. At least one more. Yeah.
There was 87 million this past year. I mean,
they got the reports back. It was very good.
$87 million.
That's cash money.
In terms of like,
have you seen the amount of mount skins? Have you seen the mount skins they're selling?
Yeah, I have.
Have you seen that shit?
Hotcakes.
Dude,
hotcakes.
This quarter, the first, the 2017 Q4 was higher than the release of POF release because of the mount skins and everything.
Yeah. Dude, they are making bank. Seriously, dude, it might be half expansion, Mike, but it's full wallet, Mike, dude. Seriously, the guy is fucking raking it in, dude. Like, the amount of cash. Mount skins are actual genius, dude. I mean, honestly, I just want to thank ArenaNet for mount skins because that's going to give me my next raid wing and next expansions, dude. Seriously.
And you know what though? I think this actually resulted in stuff like the World v World rework and this very expansive balance patch we got with like all the changes. You look at so you compare previous updates, and they were relatively scarce. Now what they've come out with is very large rework of 2 engineer trait lines, phantasms. Not everything we wanted, but there was a lot of stuff in there. Realistically, a lot of work, and also you have to consider the fact that they've come out and said they're going to do this massive World v World rework in terms of worlds. And this is all coming off the timing of this massive, really like profitable quarter.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a place for a third expansion.
I think so. Yeah. Is it going to be Cantha?
Yes.
I mean,
yes. It's pretty much confirmed. It's pretty much confirmed at this point, isn't it? Right?
Like,
I want it to be. I really want it to be.
Okay, where else are they going to do it that would make them as much? I don't
know. Like Eye of the North. Nowhere else.
No.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Cantha, everyone's nostalgic. Like.
Yeah. Unfortunately, someone made a really, really long and detailed Reddit post about how they don't think it could be Cantha. But unfortunately, I didn't read it, so it might not be that good. I think it should be Cantha. Because obviously, yeah. And if someone was talking about player housing as a new cash cow for the next expansion, that could work. Especially in Cantha.
I'm gonna be honest. Okay, if Neopets can do player housing, I think Guild Wars 2 can.
Well, yeah. I mean, honestly, right? I'm gonna be 100% real, boys. Like these business practices are a little bit shitty with the mount licenses and like the 2K gems. It's shitty. But I'll tell you what.
Thing is,
I'll tell you what. If this anti-consumer bullshit gets me my next expansion pack, then okay, I'll let this one slide, ArenaNet. I'll let it go. Okay, I'll tolerate.
Like we've all had this conversation about the mount stuff, and we've like you know my position on it. I can't bring myself to buy them because they're too expensive, and also prohibitively like the way it's set up. It's not consumer friendly, but that doesn't stop like all of my friends who are going to buy them like that.
They keep buying it. They buy all the fucking mount skins, dude.
I log in and like my friend like shows up with a new Celestial Griffin, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, well it's working. It's working.
Yeah, it's working, man. And there's and you know, I don't know. I honestly like Brazil can do another video about this. He can do more remixes. None of it's in the fucking game. Like, there's 0 mount skins in the game so far, apart from
and nothing for
PvP or World vs. World. Feels rip.
I don't think players have a problem with it as long as there's actually content in the game.
Yes, I don't have a problem with it at all. Right, I have 0 problem with
at the release of it. I was a little pissed off, to be honest. I was like, but now there's content in the game. It's like,
imagine if it was this they just kept on coming out with new mount skins, releasing them in a not consumer friendly way. But it was that period of time after HOT where there was like 10 months of no content. Then maybe it would be worse. But no, we're getting the rolling content like we usually do. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's completely fine with me. They can put as many fucking RNG bullshit things. I'll tell you what. You know what they've done? Actually, this is finally the tea time. I get to say this, guys. I know that ArenaNet watch Tea Time and they listen to me. Because what do they do? Not only did they buff celebration boosters to give you bonuses in World vs. World, basically, like I said, what do they add to Black Lion chest, boys?
Is it bonus shows Black Lion boosters?
Every single chest, you can get a Black Lion booster now, man. Holy shit. You get it costs one statuette. One statuette and you will get a Black Lion booster. So for every key, you can get a Black Lion booster now. Oh my god. ArenaNet, thank you. You yes, ArenaNet, yes! And I think about this because Black Lion keys are actually pretty good right now, dude. It's basically just a booster that makes World vs. World faster. Gives you more reward track and magic find.
Yeah, it gives 50% magic find. It's just a booster, but
100% magic find boots. It's a unique modifier. It's a unique booster. It just stacks up with everything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Is it just for World versus World?
No,
everything.
All game modes, but it has an interaction.
How long does it last?
30 minutes.
30 minutes is shit, but it's actually really good. I'm just gonna say it's really good.
Yeah. It's it's all right. I actually bought one the other day. I had one statuette, and I got just for you, Teapot. I got the booster, opened up some of those envelopes, and was severely disappointed in what I got from them.
I just want to thank everyone on Twitter who supported me in my quest to get this changed and put in the game. Thank you for the retweets, guys. One like is one booster. Okay, I appreciate you guys, and we did it. We did it. We changed the game. We saved Guild Wars 2 by putting Black Lion boosters in there, okay? I'm proud of you guys. Proud of all of you. And
they also announced that raid selling was okay, didn't they?
Yes.
But they said that most of the gold that came through it was ill-gotten.
Really?
Yeah.
Basically, what's happening is people has been buying gold to then buy raids.
Yeah, to buy raids.
Wow.
I actually know
and then they were putting punishments on raid sellers for getting the gold.
Oh no.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
And basically they say, if that happens to you, fuck you, and they don't care.
Yeah.
But it's really funny because I actually know about one instance of this. I won't say the guild involved, obviously. But there was a guild trying to sell Doom CM, and they were going to do it. They were going to sell Doom CM, but the guy actually got banned before they could do it. Because he bought gold to try and sell them. He tried to buy the raid, so he bought gold and he got banned. And it was 20k. I think they were charging 20k for Doom CM. So
how much would that be if straight up gems? If you did it that way, that'd be a lot of money.
A lot.
It's what, 800 gems? 800 gems for 100 gold? No. What am I saying?
It's $10 for 800 gems.
600.
I think.
Yes.
I'm gonna go on Guild Wars 2
$10 for 800. $10. I mean, you could do a lot. You could get access to some sweet emotes for $10.
Yeah.
And you could become a member of the Ultimate Underground.
Okay, that's $1,300 if you.
Wow.
20k gold.
I think. I mean, like, I've never looked on one of those buying sites, but it can't be that much cheaper than the gems. So, like,
it is. It always has been. I have, throughout my days of, floating around through Guild Wars 2 and investigating the community, I've come across some strange people that have done all sorts of strange things, and it's to the point where it's kind of tempting. You're like, maybe it's worth the risk. But
I've done some investigating.
So.
I've done some investigating, and it's $200 cheaper to get it through illicit means.
That's it?
Only
That's
$200 cheaper? Wow.
That is not
That's
worth
not
it.
even
Why would you do that?
Yeah. Wait, who would buy gold? Wait, what? Dude, that's fucking ridiculous.
That's
so basically,
so
you pay $200 and Chris Curry bans you. I mean, wow.
You save less than like 20%.
It's fucking shit.
And
I mean, I don't know what current prices are, but when Guild Wars 2 was like a jam, like a couple years back, it was just stupid. It was pennies.
So
I had a friend that suddenly had like 9 legendaries, and it was what he told me was just it was frightening. It was just like, I completely understand. I hope I continue to see you log into the game, but I mean,
yeah. I feel like there's a risk analysis that you could do on this, and it very easily shows that you shouldn't do it because you have let's say a 75% chance of getting banned if you do it, and you only save 20%, which means it's not worth it. You have a chance of losing $1,000 for nothing.
Yeah, you're losing whatever you've invested into the game, like up to that point too, which is, I mean, you're the kind of person that's going to buy gold and buy raids, and you probably also buy other things and have in the past. Like, let's just be real.
Plus the $1,000 or whatever that you're paying for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, but I want to go back to the kind of like the general balance of the game thing. Like, do you think ArenaNet will actually move quick enough on this to actually make it so that it is a horizontal thing instead of so all specs are at least possible to use in some kind of way? Or is that never going to happen? Are we never going to get to what they said elite specs truly are? Will we ever reach elite spec utopia, my friends? Because I believe, man, I believe we'll see some of it. Because look at SD, dude. SD Thief, dude. That shit's back. It's disgusting. It's dirty. Okay? It's abusive. It's there. They can do the same.
I think it's possible, but it's going to take so much time because they need to rework a lot. Like, there is a lot they have to do, and they've got to buff the POF specs first, in addition to making new elite specs for the upcoming expansion. I don't think they've even started the new elite specs yet because they've been pumping out so much of these reworks. I don't know. I think it's possible. It's possible that they'll end up doing it, but it's not going to be for a while.
How long do you think it takes to do a balance patch, like to prep for it and actually put it through?
An hour and a half.
I don't know. It's not really something I could say, and I don't think anyone other than ArenaNet really knows. It's kind of like, they pulled out 2 in the same amount of time, roughly the same amount of time it'd take them to do 1. Obviously they did the Christmas one, and then they did this one. But I don't know, all I know is that it seems to take a little too long. And they should
that could be because they are working on other things at the same time.
They should be a bit more reactionary and working to implement smaller changes more often, in my opinion. If there's a particularly broken thing in PvE or PvP or whatever game mode, really, they should be on that immediately. We saw it with fixes to, what was it, elemental power or something, whatever that arcane
spreading
power.
out the fire, yeah.
Yeah, in PvE, that was a 2-day fix or whatever it was.
Yeah.
There's definitely ways they can do that stuff for stuff like Scourge or whatever in PvP. But they don't, and I don't understand it myself, but hey, there we go.
I mean, maybe PvP is a little more wishy-washy though, right? Because PvE, you have the DPS reports and stuff, and you could clearly see when something is broken. But with PvP, there's a lot of counterplay that comes into play, and it's hard to say whether something is completely broken.
I guess, and there's obviously a lot of conjecture, right? But
yeah,
I think that's where it's really important that ArenaNet talks to the people who are at the highest level in especially PvP and World v World. I can't imagine how many times players have tried to reach out to ArenaNet to try and tell them this stuff. And I know players like Sind have even said, if ArenaNet asked me, he'd tell them, he'd give them suggestions and everything. A lot of players would be more than willing to do it for free.
There's a lot more that goes into that. There honestly is.
Yeah, no, obviously, but the point is that it's when it comes to the actual changes, a lot of the time they miss the mark, and I'm pretty sure ArenaNet relies more on their metrics than actual player feedback when it comes to their balancing.
They do, but there are things that their metrics. I want to say that might be able to indirectly account for, but here's the thing with that. So, like the alpha testing for raids and like alpha testing for POF, there were some immense, like cataclysmic leaks that came out of all of that. And there are, I mean, PvPers who have access to a lot of things, like they do give feedback, but that also generates leaks. That gets into their smaller communities, and then that gets out of those communities. It's not in the same capacity as like, it's a couple months before Path of Fire comes out, and look at this, here are all the masteries, here are pictures, whatever. Like, and another thing is that, like, you have to be careful because I don't think that they want to be seen as endorsing anyone in particular. And they're like, you just get into this mess where the game developers want to interact with the community, but they don't want to be, they probably don't want to be seen as giving endorsements or playing, favoritism or making any sort of admission that like these people are just better and we're going to listen to them, or like, there are a lot of funny political things that can happen. But I think one big failure that has been universal throughout every single game mode and has, consistently been a thing since the game's release, was that they just failed to they fail to predict like how far people are going to go to find things that are exploited and broken, and how quickly those things are going to spread. And they just don't seem to be able to like predict that correctly. Maybe there's something that they could see, like, how quickly everybody started using Berserker's armor, and like look through, videos in the community, or like, there are things that they could do, but it's just a matter of like, I don't know that the developers think in the same way that a lot of people that go out and find these things, like, I don't know that the developers were like me and, other people that I do in dungeons who would spend like 12 plus hours straight finding jumping puzzles in a raw to jump from like, I don't know, over a wall and just kill the Wraith Lord instantly, or up a wall and just go, I don't think they do stuff like that. So it's a failure to predict how certain parts of the community are gonna play the game.
Yeah, I think we continuously say this, right? And, on this show, and the community says this is not a unique idea. This is not a fresh idea. This is a very common idea in other games. They need to abuse these people, right? But in a good way, right? They need to utilize these people, should I say, is a better way of putting it, right? They need to use the community to help them with their game. They can talk to them and say, okay, so what would be a good way to change this, right? Like, what would be a good way to nerf this or buff this?
Honestly.
No, I don't know.
They should put out bounties for like a gem code or something for people that can find something and break it and submit it privately. Submitting it publicly.
With the raids, like the raid test in the beta. They
Not
were
anymore.
giving away mouse. They did that. Well, no, back in HOT beta when they had the raid and they were testing the squads and no one could get in, like they were giving away mouse mats to people who
found bugs. Yeah. That did happen. Yeah. Yeah. They did used to do that, yeah. I think that would be really interesting to. Well, I mean, like, you could do that for bugs, but it's a bit trickier. Like, whoever can come up with the best balance change gets a mouse mat. I mean, that's a little bit. That's not gonna work, right?
What, nerf Scourge, easy gems.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like, nerf Scourge. Oh, there you go. You got it. You got the change. Well, good job. You get your 800 gems now, buddy. That's good stuff.
A system like that has some pretty obvious problems because people will be submitting. Who knows? Like, they'll have an email set up like bounty at ArenaNet dot whatever, and then people are going to be sending in all kinds. I mean, I don't know. People would troll the hell out of that.
Probably.
You're also motivating people directly to go and break the game, and people who might not do that to begin with.
Otherwise,
they don't just want to ask the community and do as they say, obviously, but they could at least take the feedback and read things. No, I'm not saying the community, ArenaNet, do not listen
No, they should
to
not
the
listen
to the Guild Wars 2
community.
community.
They
no,
should definitely not.
I want them to listen
They
to
should
like
not. That's the reason
You
why
know,
that Deadeye build is so good, is because of how bad the community is.
Because they did not really
Oh my
like, could
God.
you imagine what would be
No, oh my God, dude.
And that's why also Necromancer Axe is gonna be like the most OP thing in the world in about a year.
If they listen to the community, I don't even know. Like the game, dude. I went on Reddit, okay, and much like Inks, I got instantly triggered by the amount of people saying that Necromancer is just terrible in PvE. Like, no, don't listen to these fucking people, dude. Seriously, like, these are the kind of people that got
boss your personal story.
Yeah, dude. Seriously, like people died to the fucking Eater of Souls in the fucking story, dude. Like, come on, like, don't listen to these people. They can't. They should not be listening to these people to balance like PvP or anything really. It's just no. I'm talking about listening to like the people who win the fucking monthly AT and only them, maybe, dude. You know what that should do? If you win the monthly AT, it should open an extra chat channel where you can talk to the devs. Easy.
You get to request one.
Yeah. If you there we go. Yeah, dude, that would be so sick. If you win the monthly AT, ArenaNet comes to you and says, "Okay, right, you can nerf one class, get it done." Yeah, you can get it. No, I mean, real talk though. I mean, the community actually is really, really good in this game. The community is great in this game, but the trouble is just there's a fucking clown fiesta. Like, the vocal minority of the Guild Wars 2 community is just, I don't even fucking know, dude. It's a huge clown fiesta. But the community itself is great. It's an amazing community in Guild Wars 2. But some people just don't understand the game very well.
Just don't do tier 3 fractals ever.
Yeah.
Three.
Yeah, no, on the journey to tier 4. Because on the journey to tier 4, you got to go through tier 3.
Tier 3 is good memes. Like,
yeah.
If you wanna rage at the game, tier 3. Like that or playing on NA PvP.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know how far. See, there was some point back in like maybe 2013 and a half where I was like, I want to figure out like what the average player of this game is, and like I didn't quite decide to end that journey until right before I stopped playing the game a while back, and it is just, it's scary. It blackens your soul because you'll see people like it's just people that don't know how to repair their armor. People that don't know like what a full inventory is, like people who can't beat skill points like out in the open world and curse shore because they still have on their level 30 armor because they don't want to buy new armor until they're level 80 and they're like level 70 something somehow, like stuff you would not imagine. And it makes like adding the dodge roll trainers and like making like early game so just like completely, it all like makes sense. And there's so much more. Like there's it's frightening. It's frightening.
It brings us back to a point which I believe that they should add a proper tutorial to the game. Like, honestly, just scrap the first instance. Like, they could have it as like a bonus story bit later on to introduce you, but at the very beginning have a tutorial that shows you skills like CC, break bars, whatever, like, so you actually understand when you get into the game. Well, because otherwise,
the trouble is now though it takes you so long to actually unlock all the skills. Though it takes forever.
Yeah,
so,
I don't.
How can you have a proper tutorial where in the first instance the only thing you can do is auto attack? I mean, I'm not sure if that's the best introduction to the game.
I agree with that.
There are design choices to that because the first instance is all about getting you realistically to see big AoEs and like big monster attacks.
To get you excited, to get you hyped up.
Well, no, because like it's very slow, like big earth hands that make AoE circle. Like you go out into the world and like your first experience is hitting bandits in Queensdale, and then suddenly like there's Shadow Behemoth. And so like I think the design intention is to get you ready for like stuff like that big scale Guild Wars 2 epic thing, and like you kind of fill in the gaps in between with like small mobs and like champions and whatever in events, and like the tutorial I think is really built into like playing through the game. It's kind of interesting in that regard.
But it's true though. There's just so many small elements to the game that are really hard to find. That I don't think I've ever really had a tutorial for, and things keep on getting added to the game. I mean, when the World versus World change hits, I doubt they're going to add a tutorial for the new guild system for World versus World. Hopefully they do, but they probably won't. So it's like there's so many. You don't think they're inaccessible as a veteran player because you've been doing it this whole time and you know every in and out of the game, but there's a lot of inaccessible things in the game because there's just not a really good way to show players how to do it.
I think that they depend on the partner program for a lot of that too, and like tweeting out like videos that people make about whatever the case is. And like I think that they kind of handle a lot of stuff through that avenue, but I mean,
but if they're going to do that, then they can do it a hell of a lot better. Like actually, like commission various content creators and then put the videos actually in game. Like actual guides on how to play PvP or whatever, like embedded into the game. That would be, ArenaNet sanctioned, of course, but that'd be a really great way to get people in, and it requires very little effort from them. All it is a bit of UI.
That would be interesting, yeah. The tutorial for PvP right now is hold on to your points, seize theirs.
Yeah, dude. Red team got a capture point, dude. Come on.
And then you have like people double capping because they think it caps faster.
Dude, but 5 people caps faster.
Yeah.
Whoa! I bet you didn't know that.
I did actually. Only because
dude,
they mentioned it.
Yeah, I know they mentioned it, but I actually didn't know that up until then.
The single most soul-shattering, just like I have only truly ever felt defeated in this game once, like personally. Like it just, I feel like I've lost 3 inches in height. Like that's how bad
like
it was.
Solo queue game to me.
Whenever I saw someone, I didn't see them. I was in Mumble in a guild that I was in a while back, and they were explaining to me that it was difficult to dodge with double tap, so they decided to click the endurance bar instead, because it was easier to click the endurance bar to dodge instead of double tapping. So they unbound double tap to dodge, and they clicked the endurance bar because that was easier for them. And then I saw someone do that on a live stream a little while after that, and it was just like it didn't get me that bad. It was the first time I ever heard that. It was just like,
see, until about 2 years ago, I didn't even know you could click the endurance bar. Like clicking skills, like what? Like never occurred to me whatsoever. I know, like there's a lot of casual players, and there's nothing against casual players. They bring in the money to this game, but it's that vocal minority of players who think they're casual but actually play this game way too much to be casual. That is actually problematic.
Well, no, it's more like it's more like it's the casuals who kind of think that they should be able to change the game in any way they see fit. That's the problem, right? Like. It's like the casuals role playing as rank 1 legend. That's the issue. Like, if only my class was better, I'd be legend right now, man. Like it's my class. It's yes. If only if only my fucking axe ranger got buffed, then I'd be rank 1 legend. If only. Like that's the problem. I don't like with the way this stuff goes. This is kind of getting a little bit sidetracked. Just a little bit sidetracked. But I don't know. What else can we really talk about? They did stuff in Warrior. They're trying to Power Warrior is a thing now. Spellbreaker, dude, in PvE.
That's really good.
It's actually a thing. You can use axes, so that's a really nice change. And they Boots. You were almost right. You were almost right with the banner trait. You see that?
I saw that, but it's only for the Warrior, right?
Yeah, so it's not good. But
yeah. Oh well. They did need to buff that banner trait though. They really did. It was underwhelming.
It needs to give the banners a shorter effectiveness on the uptime, but make it just apply on top of the Warrior so it moves around with him. So you're just essentially creating convenience, or maybe give it a smaller radius or something. I don't know. Like I would just love that trait to be a convenience trait, to where there are trade-offs, but you really just play it for the convenience on top of like some other just meme effect. I don't know.
How possible? This sounds to me like it's impossible, but how possible would it be for ArenaNet to implement a new mechanic where with your mouse you could click on your banner on the ground and drag and drop it somewhere new?
I mean, I don't think it'd be very easy, and I don't think it's worth spending developer time on.
I know.
But I mean,
not sure about.
I know.
I think the easiest thing to do with that would just be to like add an ammo system to it, and basically make it like Ventari tablet. Like you cast a banner, and then you just get a new ground target, and you can just move it. Yeah.
Shades, but they're actually banned. Dude, make Shades banners. Shades now give extra stats to everyone.
in addition to their previous effects.
Yes, in addition to that. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, yeah. There you go. In fact,
They give
okay,
expertise.
if you stand in a shade, every time the Necro casts one of the abilities, it also casts around everyone standing in the shade. So if you stand inside the shade, it just gives you mega aids, because everyone standing in the shade just one-shots you.
Oh, hold on a second. We don't need a drag and drop. Just have a second activation on the banner skill that puts it back on yourself. Like it just goes right back to where you are.
It pulls it in. Like it's Ventari.
Have
Right?
the
It's
tech for
the
that,
tablet, dude.
Samurag.
It's the tablet.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
Yeah, easy. It just follows you. You can summon the banner, it just flies at you.
The Spirits Unbound, or whatever that Ranger trait was.
Inks
Rest in
wants
peace.
us to talk about Ranger, and well, you know, honestly, this is nothing happened to Ranger pretty much. Almost nothing happened to Ranger, which is quite amusing. It's humorous to me. They buffed some of the pet abilities and the Soul Beast abilities, but that is basically it.
I love how Stinsea didn't get touched. Celestial Avatar didn't get touched.
Yeah.
Celestial Shadow didn't get touched.
Do you enjoy
Bristleback
Druid? Do you enjoy Druid in PvP, Angeels?
I love Druid. I think the best part about Druid is the passive weakness proc on it, as well as giving them protection.
Yeah.
That's my favorite one. On hit.
Mm. And doesn't protection also give them Condi reduction as well?
Only if they're Soul Beasts.
Yeah,
well,
Soul Beast.
only if they're Soul Beast, but you're going to be Druid probably, yeah. Yeah, I saw a Druid today in PvP that was defending far against 3 people for about 5 minutes.
Yep.
That was interesting. I don't know if that should be a thing.
Well, Druid shouldn't really be a thing anymore because it's been basically playing the same build for 2 years. So
You can beat it with Deadeye, but it's just kind of like... That's the 1v1 I really don't take.
it's
It's
interesting.
just kind of like... Well, it's interesting.
You can beat a lot of stuff with Deadeye.
Yeah.
You can beat everything
know
with
this.
Deadeye. Brazil can beat anyone with Deadeye, dude.
I think
realistically...
I think half the reason why you can beat so many people with Deadeye is because you're the only person playing it, so they have no idea what's coming. They're just
that's a part of it. Like it's just people. It causes people to panic. It causes people to not think correctly because suddenly there's this whole aspect of they don't know where you are, they don't know what you're gonna do, they don't know what the class does, and there's this giant mark and like this one shot, one kill, and like all this stuff just being like blasted into their ear. And so like it's just this like chaos inducing just nightmare, and then there's Death's Judgment and they die, and they just think I don't really want to, like, I'm gonna be perfectly honest, like I don't care if I lose PvP games because I don't try to lose on purpose necessarily, but like if I can just
You've redefined what it means to win.
I have. If I can just stay in like gold 1 or gold 2 and just wreck people all day long with Deadeye, that's all I care about.
Wait, I'm sorry. Gold 1, gold 2, did you say?
Yeah, I'm in gold 3 right now because I've been on a win streak with it. But ideally, I would get down to bronze and then just be the best player in that entire tier just with Deadeye. Like I would legitimately have the most fun. That's like the maximum amount of fun in PvP that I could achieve.
So is it gonna be like you're in bronze because you lost so many matches. All your teammates. All right, go ahead.
I have to tell. So I did the same thing I've told this story before. I did the same thing a long time ago in League of Legends. Like Halloween came around ages ago, like the first Halloween in League of Legends. They released a skin called Definitely Not Blitzcrank. And it's Blitzcrank with this like jacket and this like nose and disguise on. And so I was mad at the game. I hated playing ranked and trying to get my elo up. So I thought, I know how to have fun. I threw down to 500 elo. That is impressively low. That's like I have one eye and one hand and I'm playing League of Legends. That's how bad that score is. And what I did the entire time, I would go with Blitzcrank to leash the blue golem for the jungler. And I would do the Superman leash where I walk back and forth and the golem would just track me. And right when they're about to smite it and take it, I would rocket grab it over the wall, take the blue buff, immediately run into mid lane, feed the blue buff to the other mid player, AFK in base, and when they would say, "What is this Blitzcrank doing?" I would type in all chat, "It's definitely not Blitzcrank," and I'd AFK.
That sounds like win trading.
That was the most fun I had ever had in League of Legends. And I quit playing the game because I realized that and Cho'Gath with like Vorpal Blades and 6 Phantom Dancers, those are the only 2 builds that I've ever truly had fun on in League of Legends.
Dude, like, chat has no idea what the fuck you're talking about, man. They only play Guild Wars 2.
I mean, that's not true. But...
He should talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! They would definitely be into that.
Yeah, we haven't had a Yu-Gi-Oh! stream. We haven't had a Yu-Gi-Oh! stream for a while.
I quit playing that game because it's just you think Guild Wars 2 is bad, like balance and pacing.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a money sink too.
I mean, so are RNG mount skins. Let's be honest.
But you don't have to buy those.
I have to buy Yu-Gi-Oh! cards.
In order to play, though, you do.
There are such thing as budget decks that are like just effective enough to where you can justify spending like $30 or $50 on them. Talk about guns.
Guns? We're gonna do guns now? Oh my god. Okay, right. We need to get some proper discussion here going, boys. Otherwise, we need to just run away and fail. Is there really anything that much to talk about, really, in particular? We kind of covered pretty much everything, honestly, man. We could have done everything pretty much relevant, because honestly, there weren't a crazy amount of changes. I was expecting more from this balance patch. And I think that in itself is an interesting thing, right? Like, things need to move a little bit quicker than this. I was expecting Cataclysm. Yeah. I was actually expecting legit balance apocalypse. You know, I was expecting tears, people to cry. You know what I'm saying? But it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen.
It did.
It didn't happen. It's very sad.
Yeah.
But we didn't really talk about, I guess, the Lunar Festival.
What?
We could
Dogs?
What? The festival. The
what?
Oh, the Luck Festival. The Festival of Luck.
The Festival of Luck.
The festival of buy the envelopes from the vendors and immediately sell them for a profit on the TP.
The vendor festival, yeah, I like that one. That's a good one.
Dude, it's a really good. It's legit free money, man.
Yeah, I'm doing it every day on my
legit free money.
Is the race different from the race from Winter's Day?
I don't know. I haven't done it. Didn't seem very exciting. I think there's also an adventure there to light some lanterns or something. But
I haven't done any PvE festival content since Queen's Gauntlet because that was the only good festival content they've ever added. I probably won't add it back.
The Lunar Festival,
I really like the races.
And PvP. What? MMO Inks. What are you saying, dude?
Wait, what? What did Inks? What did
Inks?
The
race is different.
The Lunar Festival is
more worth than PvP. Ooh, and that is hard. Inks roasting PvP. Why? Inks is the new Brazil. Inks is the new Brazil. Why is Inks roasting the game these days? What's going on?
I don't think I've really roasted anything.
You haven't? Yeah, exactly.
I roasted ostrich eggs for half a second, but that was it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, Inks. Inks, why are you not on this TeaTime, dude? Real talk, dude. Like, you could.
Hold on. I have an idea.
Inks, will you debate Bick? Will you debate Bick, dude? Seriously, just fucking debate Bick. Go on, Wix, go.
Brazil, I need something before we sign off here. We need something to happen before this TeaTime ends. And so I'm going to say something. I think your Deadeye build is not very good.
Okay.
And now you say.
So with a W, dude.
It starts with a W.
Right. I mean, right starts with a W, but it's silent. So I'm continuing from that, and I'm going to bypass what you're baiting me into saying. By how many years did you go to school for your engineering degree?
Like 100.
Right, and I went to college and dropped out 3 times, and I am correct about this, and you are not. So
that was a very detailed way of saying
wrong.
Yes. All right. To be fair, I like your Dead Eye build.
It's good. I mean, you know, it works possibly better with Staff Thief, because Staff Thief had this problem where like it just couldn't really stealth enough, but suddenly it does. Oh my gosh. Boy, you do that bounding dodge into a stealth steal, knock them down, and vault on them.
But anyway, yeah, basically fuck all happened to Ranger, guys. Druid is still obnoxious as fuck. They fixed a bunch of bugs. Druid is still AIDS. They should probably make it less annoying.
Well, we're doing quick wrap up.
Yeah, quick wrap up. Like on the Ranger thing.
So, Hollow dodge is gone, but more obnoxious than ever.
Oh yeah, dude. That's
Chrono Condi's gone, but more obnoxious than ever with the phantasms.
Yep.
But overall, Mesmer's pretty cool now.
Yeah, Mesmer is kind of cool now.
Spellbreaker does more damage in PvE.
This is mad. We're still talking about PvP.
Yeah, we're trying to talk about some things, dude.
But PvE didn't really change it. Like
PvE, no, basically nothing changed. All
that happened is some classes got some damage buffs.
Yeah, they made stuff a little bit better. They
added more visual noise to the shade change.
Oh god, no. The visual noise is in World. We can talk about. We can do a very quick wrap up there. Seriously, the visual noise in World vs. World with the new Scourge AoEs is actually unbearable. Holy shit!
I feel sorry for anyone who's epileptic. Like it must legit be horrifying.
God, it is actual like a rape in World vs. World. It's horrible, dude. It's brutal how many circles.
You can't have Ellie auras because that's too much visual noise.
Yeah.
Honestly,
a shade that's 1200 radius just glows red.
No. I don't know. Some things happened, right? I mean, various things happened.
Yeah.
Weaver is kind of the same. The Guardian is basically the same, except mildly worse. I don't know. That's it, guys. I mean, Necro got bopped, but it's still good.
Basically, across all the game modes, it's exactly the same classes.
Yeah.
Just slightly different builds.
So it wasn't enough. They need to hit it harder. Is what we're saying.
Yeah.
They need to smack it even harder than it was already smacked. They need to get more radical changes. But honestly, a good patch. I think a good patch, in my opinion. Yeah. Slap on the wrist. Yeah.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah, slap on the wrist. Yeah. Everything is still as it is, except slightly different. You know, the playstyle's different, especially on Mesmer. I mean, that's kind of cool. But yeah, everything's kind of good. Yeah. Druid is still AIDS. You know, Druid's still a pain in the ass. You can jump all over stuff.
Do we get
Staff auto attack? Bristleback, you know?
Do we get a trailer on Tuesday?
Probably, yes.
Yes. We definitely do now.
Well, actually, this is. I don't know if you guys have talked about this in previous tea times, but they have mentioned that they're talking about more marketing stuff as February commences.
I did hear that.
Yeah, but their more marketing is, buddy. It's a fucking like friendship thing, dude. That's what the more marketing is, man.
First step.
I don't understand what that is.
I have no clue either. I looked at the marketing post and was like, okay, whatever.
I think it's like the first step of a marketing campaign where they take your stories and then use it to market the game.
Yeah, probably. I mean,
didn't they already try that with the Guild Wars 2? What was it called? It's that thing where the Guild Wars 2 manifesto and the South Sun Cove commercial. They tried that already. Didn't go too well.
I think the idea is that it gets people spamming the hashtags on social media, and so people come across it more and see cool stuff about how they met it, and casuals are like, oh, I want to play this game because I can meet lots of cool people. I don't know, maybe that's the idea behind it, but they've mentioned they're going to be doing some proper trailers and everything, which is that was in a forum post by the global marketing leads. So
hopefully they don't use sweet effects anymore.
Ha! Oh boy.
Thanks.
There we. Well, hey, Brazil. At least they can't remove your partnership, dude. You know, like for saying that shit. You know, like you're safe now. Okay, it's all good. Yeah. I think that kind of does it. Like it's.
Yeah.
We need to see more balance, but it's a good start at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I think that will just about do it for us, guys. It's been a good show. I think it's been an intense show. It's good to have you back, Brazil. Would you like to give any shout outs to anyone in particular? Because I mean, would you like to say a few words at the end of the show?
Yeah, Berserker Amulet with infiltration runes and Shadow Wits.
Okay.
If you want to support
it's the number one way to get to gold 3 in
NAPPP. You will be king of gold. You will be King Midas.
If you want to get to plat 1,
everything you touch will turn to gold.
Easy NA gold.
Oh yeah, Tobago shout out to Bagawan.
Like shout into this empty can or something. Like I mean, what's the point of that?
Huh?
Bye.
Would you debate Bagawan again?
Yeah.
Man, we need to make that happen, dude. But anyway, let's see. We've got ourselves a wonderful guest here. He had no idea what he was getting himself in for. Definitely not. It's Angeels. What do you do, man? What are you up to? How can we observe you in your natural habitat?
So I stream on Twitch, and that's pretty much it. Because there we go. It's
I need to change that YouTube link for my channel.
Yeah, I should. Yeah.
And yeah, I basically stream Holosmith, and that's pretty much it because I can't play any other class. And yeah, I fucking hate the new meta, so I play SD Holo. That's it.
SD?
SD? Static Discharge Holo.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was going to say Sword Dagger. Wait a minute. Anyway, yeah, so we're going to check out the links there for that. And the Boots, who probably also didn't really know what he was getting into as well. You know, I just bait people into this, dude. Like I just bait people into tea times. Brazil really makes this a big meme. You know, what are you up to these days, Boots? When are we going to see the Deadeye bad build with infiltration ring?
Deadeye bad build's already done. Deadeye, it's been there for a while. Oh, I can't steal his build.
Yeah, you steal the build.
I'm not.
Why?
I'm not gonna steal.
I'm not gonna make a video about it.
I'll try it out. I'll see if it's good. I'll make some bad builds. I still only have 3 left from the POF elite specs, the 3 light armors. The balance patch definitely helped me with some ideas, but it's still hard to make something stupid enough that I want to make a video about it. But they're gonna come. But that's it. So you can find that on World Avengers on YouTube.
I'm looking forward to your Barrier Scrapper video.
Barrier Scrapper video. I could do that.
Yeah, full tank god Scrapper. Yes.
Can you make? We need we need some like a Necro or Scrapper, Harrier Barrier. You got to do the
Barrier Harrier.
Right now, right after the patch hit, I went Harrier Necro, Harrier Scourge, and I did Feed from Corruption, and it was working really, really well, like amazingly well with the new lifesteal. We didn't talk about the new lifesteal, Teapot. I don't know why we didn't bring it up.
Oh, because it's fucking trash, and I don't like it.
Buffed by 1,200%.
That's right.
Flavor's trash. Flavor is fucking shit. Fuck you, ArenaNet. Sorry. No, I'm sorry.
Harrier Necro was fantastic, but mostly because of the bug that had me blocking everything.
Wow.
No, I the lifestyle change triggers me. ArenaNet, please put it back. I'm asking you nicely, otherwise I will riot. There we go. We've done the lifestyle change now. It's bad flavor. It might be a bit better in PvE, but the flavor is not good. I don't like it. I don't like cooldown stuff like that. It should give you loads of little mini lifesteals, not one kind of bigger lifesteal every half second. Don't like it. Remove it. Revert it. Just make it better.
What about the
Don't do it like this.
In Shroud.
I like that feature, but I still don't like how it's implemented. I don't like the internal cooldown. Don't like it at all. Put it back to how it was. Really.
Shroud is just a bad mechanic, no?
What if they put it to a quarter second internal cooldown?
Still no. Put it back. It should affect AoEs.
Right.
It should affect AoEs.
To be honest, they should nerf it more so people stop playing Blood Scourge and PvP.
It should make you double hit and Shroud and Lifesteal.
What if it was per target?
Yes, then that's fine.
Okay, done.
But then that's basically the same as having no internal cooldown, though. But anyway, this is besides the point, guys. Like, it's time. It's time, guys. Everyone follow this stream. Everyone subscribe to this stream. Everyone follow everyone here. Follow me on Twitter. Inks isn't even here to follow him on Twitter. So just own him. Just shut him down. Okay, just do it. Okay. Follow, sub to everyone. Thank you guys for watching. We're just gonna go. We're gonna host Misha because he's doing some Mesmer memes. We're gonna say hi to him. But until then, we're out of here, guys. We'll see you later. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Thank you very much for watching. Nico is ruining my frame rating game with this stupid chair, and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys later on the in the game and on the internet. Just follow us for memes. Let's go. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later. Goodbye.